Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
Proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, Stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation Show. It's the Thursday after dinner edition. We know you can have many places you could be right now, but you choose to sail with us tonight and collect those frequent flyer miles. This is our first show from here in Fayetteville, North Carolina this week. We'll be on again on Sunday and then again Tuesday. Tuesday we'll be back home in Tennessee. So Sunday will be our next show here in Fayetteville, and that should be it for this season, I believe, in Fayetteville. We may have more, you never know. But we're here for you, the Misfit Nation. And as you listen to that intro, you know that we believe that you belong here. Do not make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. use 988. We know it works. We have personal family references that can tell you it works. And we have seen it work for them. If you were having that problem, you feel in the darkness, do not make that permanent solution. A day tomorrow with you is 100% better than one without you. We need you here with us. Tonight, we have a great guest. He is a TEDx speaker, an author, a creative business strategist known as Santa for Nerds. With over 20 years as a successful creative entrepreneur, he has designed custom collectibles for Disney, Universal, and Nickelodeon, while building his own thriving design studio. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Paul Pape to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks, Rich.
It's great to have you here. Like we were talking in the green room, it's always good to have great guests come on and tell great stories and share their journey with the Misfit Nation to maybe fill their toolbox with things that can help them be successful in life. And I hope your story tonight resonates with at least one person out there tonight, so we reach one and teach one tonight.
Excellent. That's the plan.
So, Paul, I just gave basically not even the elevator pitch speech about you right there. I want you to reach back into your Wayback Machine and tell the Misfit Nation a little bit more about yourself, for as far back as you want to go, to how we got on the road to where we are now.
Well, my background is actually in theater. I started out in design for theater, went in, got my degree in it. And so in 2002, I graduated. And as I was like literally the day after I graduated, I was working with a designer who had 6 shows on Broadway. And that was, as a set designer, that was kind of the apex of the career. So I asked him, I said, so John, what's it like being at the apex? And he goes, it's miserable. And there's no money in it. You're always on the road. I'm paying for an apartment I'm never in. It's just not great. So if you want to actually have a life, this is not the way to go. And I'm like, well, that would have been nice to know 3 years before I got this degree, but it is what it is. And so from there, I actually decided, well, I'll try something else. I invented a product. It did fairly well. It was called Pop-Out Furniture. It was a laser die cut paper furniture for model builders and architects. And it did fairly well. But then, just like everything else, you kind of fall back onto what you know. And so my wife, we had just gotten married. We were living in LA trying to do the whole entertainment business thing. She was miserable. So she's like, I'd like to move back home to Nebraska, to Omaha. And I said, all right, let's give it a shot. So we moved back here, and I was still doing the pop-out furniture thing. And I was also designing sets for movies, television, film, and theater on the side. And then my alma mater from my undergrad contacted me and said, hey, would you like to be the design professor? And I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll give that a shot. So I went and did that. Love education, don't love the system. So we made it about 3 years. But in doing so, I actually met some really good students. And this is in the early 2000s. And so the internet, social media was not a thing yet. I mean, it was just starting out. I mean, I think I had gotten one of the very first Gmail invites. That's how old this is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I had a student ask me if I could make him, I don't know if you're familiar or remember the Nintendo Wii from back in the day, but he had some, his little characters called Mii's. And so he wanted a Valentine's Day gift for his girlfriend and himself. So he's like, hey, can you sculpt me up some of these? I'm like, sure. I had some time. So I did that. And unbeknownst to me, he put it out on the internet, and people started contacting me left and right. Hey, can you make mine? Can you make mine? Can you make mine? I'm like, sure, why not? And so eventually, after about 6 months, I was making more money doing that on the side than I was teaching. So I was like, I asked my wife, I said, can I quit and try and do this professionally? She's like, well, I'll give you 1 year. If you don't make it work in a year, then we're going to have to, have you get a real job. And then I think 4 months later, I scored a $50,000 contract.
Wow.
And the rest was kind of history. And so what I did is I learned the general rule of bend, don't break. When somebody wants something and it's maybe not in your wheelhouse, don't immediately throw up the big stop sign. Say, well, let me think about it. Let me see if it's something that I can do. And fortunately, my background in theatrical design really kind of gives you skill sets into everything. So, I mean, if you can think it, we probably worked on it. And so no question or no product was too bizarre. And so I just started saying yes to everything. And 20 years later, I'm getting contacted from Disney or Universal. I work with the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon a lot. And it's whenever they have like a really crazy request and they don't have the people to do it, or they're not sure how to do it, they call me up because they know that I've got the skills and I can work quickly. And it's one of my passion things. So that's kind of how I got into the design thing. And then eventually I did the TEDx talk called Santa for Nerds, which is my it's a weird title. I didn't give it to myself. I know a lot of people are like, you call yourself Santa. I'm like, no, my clients do, because it's, you make a wish. I really do. I make things tangible, like memories tangible. And so that's how it came about. It's like that one thing that you wish for, there's a guy in Nebraska who can make it. And so they just started calling me Santa for nerds, because I make a lot of nerdy things. And then eventually I was working on a platform called Twitch. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. I was on there for about 8 years doing my art. So that was because that was my day job. But then I got kind of bored sitting in my studio. So I thought I'd turn on the camera, much like this, and just chit chat with people. And I started getting a lot of other creatives coming out and asking me, how do you become successful at this? What's the secret? What's the secret sauce here? And I would answer the same questions over and over. How do you figure out what to charge? How do you find your audience? How do you do this? And after about 8 years, I thought, you know, there's enough people asking me this. Maybe I should start coaching people on it, like really showing them the ropes. And so I started coaching people on the side. And then I realized that, you know, as I also mentioned, I just turned 50. So I'm like, my eyes are going, my hands are going. I was like, well, I still love the art, the making and stuff, but really it's the passion of pursuing new ideas, and nothing better than meeting somebody who's got that idea, but they don't really know how to do anything with it, and then kind of helping shape and model them into it. And so that's kind of how I created this business. And if I can give just a second to talk about it real quick. So
Yeah, jump in.
Gamified business is what I created, because a lot of creative people don't think linearly like a person with an MBA. We think outside the box. We think of things, you know, in odd ways. And so when we try to learn traditional business practices, it's daunting or it's boring, and it just doesn't really resonate with us. And so I was working with a series of clients, and they were very confused about how to run a business. They were $1 million business, but like gross, but their net was $50,000. Because they didn't know how to run the business. So they had all the money coming in, but it was just leaking out left and right. And so I was talking to them about it, and it just wasn't clicking. And so I said, how about tomorrow I come back, and they're big gamers. So I said, let's play Dungeons and Dragons Business Edition. I'll make it up. We'll sit down, we'll do character sheets based on who you are in your business. And then we'll create a campaign and go out there and slay the dragon, which is, you know, be successful in business. And we started playing this, and it clicked so quickly with them. They understood every single aspect of business. And so I was like, I think I'm on to something. And what I realized is that everybody's got a cell phone these days and is playing Candy Crush or whatever. Or we grew up, you know, like I said, I'm a kid of the 80s. I played Dungeons and Dragons or Atari or Nintendo. If you can level a character from 0 to 10, you can be an entrepreneur and run a business. It's really that simple. It's just, and so what I do is I take all of the frameworks of business and I turn it into a game. Instead of it being boring technical aspects of business, I turn it into something that's more fun to do. So it's a challenge of being it. You're leveling up yourself, your character, your business. And that's how we attack the dragon, which is business success.
Slay that dragon and go ahead and be the person you want to be. When you set that, I talk to people about goals all the time, and you can't just say, I have a goal to do this. You have to put that goal where you have to see it. And for a creative, that's probably a little easier because they like to draw out what they're going to do or visualize what they want to do, and not just here. It has to be visualized. So do you feel like a creative has a better chance of achieving those SMART goals, or just a regular, like you said, MBA person who has everything just in here twisting around?
Well, I think first off, I want to define something. Creative doesn't necessarily mean artist. And I want your listeners to really understand that. If you can, you know, anybody who has a business or wants to be an entrepreneur is creative, because you're going outside of the business norms. You're not being told what to do. You're going to do it yourself. So that's a creative personality. And that's really where I blanket all of these people into. But what I've found is that if you've got enough spirit to want to break out of the norm, to you know, instead of going to a 9 to 5 and having somebody tell you what you need to do all day, instead you want to branch out and you know, mow your own path, lead your own way, then that spirit is really all you need. And they can visualize their end goal, because typically when somebody's an entrepreneur, they have an idea in mind that they want to pursue. Either it's an invention, or, I mean, I've got one of my clients is a guy who has a lawn care business. And he's just like, I need to expand it out here. But he started it in high school mowing lawns, and it just expanded from there. But he was playing it all loosey-goosey. He didn't really have a structure to it. But he had the wherewithal to be like, I'm my own boss. I can do this. and he just needed more structure. But when I started talking about ROAS, or I started talking about other terms, it just went right over his head. But when I broke it down into terminology, either gaming or whatever works for that person, it clicks, and they're like, I get it. And that's all it is. I'm like, yeah, that's all it is. It doesn't need to be mystified.
Definitely. And I think it's like, for me, starting the podcast was step one. And then like you did when you went to Twitch and found out, hey, there's people that want to learn more stuff about things. It's branched out from there. Now, not only do I have my show, I produce another show, and we also mentor and speak to other people. So it's growing, and it's growing healthful in a healthful way. It's scaling the right direction without killing me as a solopreneur. And
Right.
sometimes that gives you that burnout. Do you see a lot of people dive in as with an entrepreneurial spirit, and they have this idea and they just run in head on, and then they burn out? How many people have you seen do that, or how many people have you been able to help not hit that wall and come back?
Believe it or not, especially solopreneurs, but every entrepreneur I've met has hit that burnout point, including myself. We all hit it because we're trying to do everything ourselves. And what we don't realize is that your strength lies in knowing your limitations and getting the help that you need when you need it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's those people who can recognize it that become the most successful. I have a lot of people. The other thing I would say to that is never chase the money, chase the passion. Because when you're excited about something, that's originally why you go out to be a solopreneur. It's why you want to try something. It's because you're passionate about it, you're excited about it. And once you lose that, you get drowned in the business aspect of it, and you lose the spark that was there. That's when most people burn out, and then they quit. Or if they go at it with, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money doing this thing that I'm passionate about, eventually it becomes the pursuit of the money. And that dragon's always 3 steps ahead of you. You'll never catch it. And so what happens is then the passion becomes getting that cash, and that's a dead end. It's just it's hard to be excited about that pursuit because it's a never ending pursuit.
Definitely. And like you said, you have to have passion for whatever you do in life. And when you wake up in the morning, you could say, I get to do something instead of I got to do something. It makes everything a lot better. And if you still have that passion for the business you have started, your baby, basically, it's still going to be, I get to do this, and not, oh, damn it, I have to go open the door and let people into my world today. You're happy to get up every day. And I think that's something some people miss when they're making these business choices.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think that's what happens when we hit that burnout stage. Like with my creative based business, Paul Pape Designs, what happened is I was doing the same like 10, 15 types of jobs over and over again. And I was doing a job for Nickelodeon. It was for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they had me fly out to LA to do some touch-up work on it. And I was sitting at the desk, and I was in this room filled with so much memorabilia from my childhood, from everything that I grew up with. Like, kid in a candy store. It should have been my Santa's lair or whatever. I mean, it was great. And I took a picture to show my wife, and she's like, why do you look so miserable? And she's like, you should be just so excited to be there. And it wasn't until she said it that I was like, because I think I am. I think I'm miserable doing this because I lost that spark because it had just become so repetitive. And I'm like, so then I had to take a step back and go, what is it that I really am passionate about? What was the thing that got me into this? And it was the giving joy to people, as opposed to, chasing to be the best, to, I was chasing the money dragon is what happened after a certain point. And so I took a step back, and I was actually out speaking, and I was talking to a group, and I put that picture up there, and man, it just like, I actually teared up when I was looking at it. I'm like, that was really my breaking point. And then when I was able to turn it around and I spoke to that audience and I said, even somebody like me, Santa has a moment where he's like, that's it. I can't do this anymore until I find that spark. So I took 8 months off, and I really dug deep and said, what was it that I was actually after? And, where is that spark again? And I had to dig for it. Trust me, because 20 years in the business, you bury it under a lot of stuff. And so to dig it back out and then see what it was, I was reinvigorated. And, like I said, turned 50, but I have never been so excited about this part of my life. I feel like I'm that 20-year-old who was, initially going out there and trying to do all of this.
Definitely. In my studio, in my home studio, I have all the TMNT dolls in my studio. And my brother got me TMNT Pez dispensers to put in my office as well in the studio. So when you said that, he chimed in with Heroes on the Half Shell. Jake said TMNT. So we weren't the only kid in the candy store. We all are. And it's just from our generation too, because we got to see the originals and then now see it morph into what it is today. So it's awesome that you're able to do that and learn that you found your wall and had to go back and dig deep. And that's something you can help those you're coaching.
Absolutely.
Hey, I was there. I was in that same hole you're in, and my shovel was bending, and I had to come out of there somehow. What's the biggest part of motivation you can tell them right there to get out of that hole?
The biggest thing to motivate them is to let go, find that joy, let go of the bit, like, because we put this burden on ourselves. It's an albatross, it's a backpack, it's whatever it is that's just leaden, and it weighs you down with the responsibilities that we put on ourselves about business. And so I'm like, find that joy. And when business stops being fun, reassess. And that's really the whole pitch behind Gamified Business is I want your business to be fun. I want it to be an adventure. I want people to stop living their lives as NPCs, which are non-playable characters. I want them to be the character, the star of their own adventure, and to keep that joy, passion, and strive for the next quest. And that's really what you got to do is so find that joy and find the adventure, find the reason to go out and do it.
Definitely. And that's like what I was saying before. You have to have that passion, that purpose in life, the purpose to get up every morning. And your wife was in your corner and told you to find it. And some people's spouse might not notice it right away, and they'll just go because they're going through their own thing. If they're not in the fight with you, they're going through their own thing. And so you're both missing each other's keys or cues, I should say. And for you, it was lucky to have that and say, look at your own picture. Because sometimes when we see that picture, we don't see it. Or when you look in the mirror, you see what you want to see. You don't actually see what's there. So it's good that you had that partner in your life to help you. What do you say to those entrepreneurs that you're helping that don't have that partner that's able to slap them back into reality?
This is actually a good one, and I'm dealing with this a lot right now as a coach. It's that, especially solopreneurs, but mostly entrepreneurs, it's that we're infallible. We don't ever make mistakes. The truth is, we all need a mentor. We all need a coach. I've got 3 right now. Like, I'm a successful businessman. I've got 3 coaches right now because there's always going to be, you got to look at your life as a timeline, and where you are is always going to be in the middle. No matter how far you've progressed, you're always in the middle of your timeline because there will always be someone who's behind you, who's idolizing, looking up to you, but there'll always be someone in front of you who you're looking up to. And those are your coaches and mentors. They don't need to be 15 steps, 20 steps ahead. They could be 3 steps ahead, but they are the ones who have been where you're at, understand the trials that you're going through, and can help to pull you along or give you the advice that you need to kind of kick over that next step that you need. It's not about making giant leaps. It's about taking that next step. When you said you turned on the podcast, you just turned it on and started doing it. That's a huge step. Walking out the door the first time, huge step. And it's really all you need. And when you feel stuck, you need somebody. Fortunately, it was my wife, but I do know a lot of the people that I've worked with. Either their spouses working together and they are so isolated, they can't see the forest through the trees. They need an outside perspective to come in and go, this is the exit's right here. This is where you need to go. And they're like, oh, and they know it, but they just they can't hear it because they're so isolated. They're in an echo chamber. And so my advice would be, when you're stuck, find a mentor, find somebody that you can talk to that's either doing the same thing that you're doing or adjacent enough, like a coach or a consultant to help you along.
That's outstanding and a great advice for the audience there. In the beginning, when I was reading where you've done custom collectibles for Disney, Universal, Nickelodeon, I'm sure a lot of the audience who is from our age group were thinking, oh, what do you make there? And I have to ask the question, what part of the collectibles did you, or what was your favorite thing you did at each one?
For Disney, it was Carbonites for Star Wars.
Nice.
The custom Carbonites, I was actually doing about 6 years before they started doing them. And so when they launched it, they didn't have enough in the bank to do publicity. So they actually called me up and they're like, hey, do you mind if we use your photos for our publicity for like opening weekend? And I'm like, well, as I'm stealing your IP without permission, I'm just going to let you have it. So, I mean, trust me, I've had enough cease and desist to know that I was walking a fine line, and most artists are walking on that fine line there anyways. And so that was a nice one there. For Nickelodeon, it was definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I got to talk to the original creators. I got to do, I was creating custom Xboxes because they were relaunching the 80s version of it, the cartoon, as well as the toy line. And so they were doing a bunch of giveaways of Xboxes. And so I got to customize 6 different Xboxes and all different styles, from the actual Turtles to the Turtle Van. But I did one that was all black and white original, but 3-dimensional relief versions of it. And you can find them online. They're everywhere. Just search it up. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Xboxes. And then for Universal, I worked on Harry Potter. And I mean, it's just some of the fun things there. So the things that I do like when I see it, it's small, but when I got to go to the parks and I got to see, that's the thing that I helped create. And so it's important to me, and I get to show my kids, and they're like, your dad worked on this. And they're like, wow, my dad's the coolest. So that's
so cool.
Yeah.
And the things you did with each one is generational. So you had Star Wars, 70s generation, 70s to now. Then you had Nickelodeon, you had the TMNT, which started in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, then through now as well. And of course, Harry Potter, which has raised children now since the 90s. There's whole sets of kids that have been raised on the Harry Potter books and the movies. Like my daughter read all the books, then went to the movies, and she wouldn't go to the movie unless she read the book. So I used to call her nerd, like you're Santa for nerds. She was my little nerd, but now she's an author. She's an author because of the books she read. So
excellent.
And let
me tell you that the geek shall inherit the earth is how, and it's the truth. The nerdy kids, they're the ones who have the ideas. So all good on her. And yeah, I wear nerd with a badge of honor. That's a great title.
And I think if you look at the show like the Big Bang Theory, that's all that was about. The nerds getting the beautiful woman, but they're all the ones that are making all the great things happen and showing what they can do as they grow in life. And they can also have normal lives, just that they're not the kids you pick on anymore.
Right.
Just, now they're the cool kids and you want to be with them. Just imagine Elon Musk when he was in high school, kids probably made fun of him. But now look what he's doing now. Yeah.
I mean, like I was telling you earlier, I live in a military neighborhood. I am the artist in a military neighborhood. I'm surrounded by military, but you would be surprised how many of those individuals are super creative, are nerdy, whatever. They just, it was the path that they chose, and, good on them. And I appreciate all of that because it allows me to be Santa for nerds, their sacrifice. But then when they come, because my kids go to their same school, and then my kids are like, you should come see my dad's workspace, which is in the basement, my studio. I have a 20-foot nerd wall, and I get parents down here, and I'm like, have fun. It's I Spy of your childhood, just 20 feet of, I just wish I could see all of this stuff. So it's a treat. It's an absolute treat. And it's amazing like how those memories really help anybody from any walk of life connect. So I think it's awesome.
Outstanding. I mean, I'd love to see the 20-foot wall myself, as the inner nerd in me would like to see that stuff. Jake from my Tuesday crew jumped on and said, the geek shall inherit the earth. Can he use that?
Absolutely. What's the rule? The first time you use it, you give me credit. Second time, you give yourself credit. Third time, it's yours.
Yeah, third time it's yours. And then you put it in the book.
That's right.
And say ChatGPT told you to do it.
Yeah, right.
So we got a question from the audience in here.
Okay.
This is from Helen Wade 1. What was the turning point where you decided to prove the critics wrong and go all in on your creative path?
That's a great question. So when I was, I chose to be an artist. I was going to be a theater designer, and I was told you can't make money. I mean, even my mentor that I was working with, so you cannot make money in this industry. There's no money to be made in art. And I was like, well, that can't be true. I mean, and so let's just see if I can prove them wrong. And so what I did is I pulled from exactly what we were just talking about. I pulled from the things that brought me joy as a child. And I really kind of leaned into it. And I thought when I first started going on my own, I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft. Love that game. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but one of the things that I would do to pass the time, I had an infant boy at the time. And so he'd sit on my lap, we'd fly around, and I'd go mine little modules of rocks somewhere. But they had this one pretty purple rock that was really hard to find called corium. And I was just flying around, and he would get excited, I would get excited. And I was like, I can sculpt that, I can make that. And so I made it, and I was like, there's no Christmas ornaments out there for World of Warcraft. So why don't I create these little rocks from inside the game and put some pretty crystals on it, slap the logo on it, and sell corium ornaments for Christmas. It went like gangbusters. It was I think it was the third viral thing that I did, because I was just like, this is something that I'm nerdy about, I would like to have. And I think it's just that I'm not ever chasing the success. I'm just chasing things that make me happy. I'm just doing the things that really fill me with joy. And that was really the thing. I am a stubborn individual, though. And if I want to do something, I will do it. I have one of my children is exactly like that. And we're like, you're just who you are. A side story is when I was an undergrad, I had already completed all my courses, but I still had a half a semester left. And so I was like, hey, can I do a project with the other kids? And like, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to turn Nightmare Before Christmas, the Tim Burton movie, into a stage musical. And they're like, well, you can do that, but you have to get the rights. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just call Tim Burton and ask him for it. And I did. I called Disney and I said, I need Tim Burton. And they're like, this is the Disneyland hotline. I'm like, okay, but they have to help you. And so through a lot of phone chains, I got to talk to Tim Burton. He's like, I'd love to help you, but I don't own the rights. Disney does. So I went and talked to Disney, got a hold of their lawyers. If you Google deep enough, you'll see I still own the rights to Nightmare Before Christmas, because I'm stubborn as a person. And I'm just like, I'm going to do this because I was chasing that joy. And that's really what it comes down to. And I think that if everybody did that thing, like find that thing that just fills you with the passion to want to get up in the morning, to want to work, to want, it's not to have to work, you'll be successful. And the naysayers kind of go away because they'll see your success because you're doing. And I don't know if you get into the woo of life or whatever, but I feel when you have the confidence and you walk into a room and you have the confidence of the thing that you're passionate about, people understand that you get raised on a plateau because you're like, he really has some kind of power that I don't understand. And in that power is just that I'm passionate about I love what I do and I'm happy about it.
And that's, we keep going back to that passionate and happy, being able to get to do things. And it's awesome the things and Nightmare Before Christmas. Another thing that connects me and my daughter, we'd love to watch that every year. So, and that's a great thing to bond with and eat popcorn and whatever else we eat in theater. It's a good time for us. And now that I can say, hey, I know the guy. So who's linked to it.
Yeah.
That's standing. See, I'm becoming a cool dad again.
It's rare. Love it. Take it when you can get it.
One of those victories. Okay, another question from the audience here. This is from Jen Fro Block 3. How did your work with companies like Disney and Universal influence your approach to business?
I think a lot of it, I was fortunate enough that I had been working with enough people from around the world, creating pieces for them that when I went, okay, now I'll back up this a little bit as well. When I was working in LA, I was connected with a director, writer, a friend of mine, and we had the opportunity to work with a lot of celebrities. And the very first time I came out there, I was doing a lot of merchandise for their show. It was a live show that we were doing, and he gave me some advice, and it's probably the best advice I ever have received, which is they're just normal people. Celebrities, these big wigs are just normal people. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like all of us. Okay. And he says, and if you treat them like that, you'll become elevated in their eyes. And when I was working on that show, I would be back in the green room with them and we're all just laughing, having a good time, or we'd go out to dinner afterward, laugh and have a good time. But as soon as they walked out in front of the audience, this shield had to come into place. And what I realized is that they are putting up a protection for themselves, because sometimes people put them in a weird position, and so they have to protect themselves. So when you can act normal around them and they're just treat them as normal people, it makes their lives and your lives a lot easier. So when working with companies like Disney, they're just another client. They're just another individual who I've worked with. And yeah, they've got a lot of money. And you do have to understand your legalese, because when you start working with big companies, especially Disney, their legal team contracts are just great. Some of the craziest stuff I've ever read. So as long as you're familiar enough with that, or if not, you've got a lawyer who can help you with that, you'll be fine. And then you just treat them as equals. Don't think of them as above you. Don't think of yourself as above them. We're all in the same playing field, because obviously they're hiring me because they have a need that I can fulfill, and they're a customer, so they're something that I need. And so we're both doing the exact same challenge. And so dealing with that, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I got my first Disney job, I was jumping for joy when I got off the phone. But when I was just talking with them, it was just, this is just what we do. And I try to stay as professional as possible, and then understand that it's a level playing field. It's rare to, I think when you start to idolize, or you start to look up upon someone, or you feel that you're less than, then they sense that as well. It's that confidence I was talking about earlier. If you feel equal to everyone else, then it's not as difficult as you might think.
Outstanding. Great answer. Another question from the audience. This is from Nina. So when you first started out, did you ever get overwhelmed, and how did you push past it, if so?
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes.
Nina.
Yes. And the thing that overwhelmed me the most, I think, was the fact that I was undercharging. Because I was taking on so much work. When I originally started out, I was making figures for $50 a piece, but I was having to make 15 to 20 a week, which and they're all hand sculpted. That's a lot. Especially when they're 12 inches tall. So that's a lot of work to become. So you become overwhelmed. And I'll be the first to admit, I had a nervous breakdown during one of these sessions, and I had an angry customer who was calling me up, and they're going at me. And that's when it really clicked in me. And I had a nervous breakdown, and my wife was there, and she was holding our infant child, and I punched the wall. And violence is never the answer. Okay. But that moment really reset me. It was a hard reset for me. And I'm like, why is this happening? And so then I understood that it's the overwhelm. And what I figured out was that your value is lessened when you sell things for cheap. And so I know it's the age of Walmart and Amazon where everything's $1, but when you're an artisan or when you're a creative, you want to elevate your prices. So now when I'm talking to people, I say, if you're not making at least minimum wage for the area that you're working in, don't do it, because you can go out to McDonald's and get a job and not have any of the headache that goes with owning your own business. It's when you're owning your own business, you have to start charging your worth. And that sometimes that worth is really high, and people will be mad that they have to pay that. Those are not your customers. And once you eliminate them, the overwhelm goes away, because the people who you're working for, or the people who are buying your stuff, understand the value that you bring, and you no longer are just some faceless entity. You are the thing that you're doing. So how I got over that is I started understanding my own value. I had to look back inside and say, why is it that this is such a hassle for me? Like, why are these people, why am I doing this? Why would I take this abuse? This isn't, I'm not working at McDonald's. I am my own boss. I shouldn't have to deal with this. And it's that realization. So if you're feeling the overwhelm, like you're overworked, you're doing too much, it's because you're not valuing yourself correctly. Reassess. And I have a sample that I can give out to you guys if you want to put it out there. If you go to gamifiedbusiness.com/podcast, you can get the first couple chapters of my book, and it kind of walks you through how to value yourself. It's one of the things that are in there. So it's gamifiedbusiness.com/podcast. And you can get yourself a bit of this. And it kind of helps you to understand where it is that you need to be in order to kind of move forward with this. Uh-oh, you're muted.
The book is the Creative Player's Handbook to Business. It's the first thing you see when you open up gamifiedbusiness.com. It's pretty cool.
One there if you're looking for it.
Can't miss it. Also has a workbook on there as well. You can use both of them. And I like to tell people all the time when I'm coaching them, you have to know your worth. What you were just talking about. You have to know your worth when you're doing something for them. Don't feel like it's a burden what you're charging them. Feel that it's your worth. Your time goes into, if you're a personal trainer, the time to create that plan, the time to go to them and do the plan with them and show them how to do the things. That's all time. Time is money, and it's your time. So what do you put value on your time? And then it starts to click. Those little wheels start to turn. Oh, I never thought of it that way. I thought if I'm doing this, it's maybe $3 to do this. No, you're ripping yourself off at that point.
Exactly.
And you might as well not be doing it for money. You might as well just doing charity work.
Exactly. Now, here's a good way to look at it as well, is when somebody asks you to pay them, And you're like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Think about it from your perspective. You're worth that. So are they. And I think that's really helped me. Like I just wrote my 4th book, and it's the first fiction book I ever wrote. And I sent it to the editor, and the editor was right around $10,000. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But I'm like, wait a minute, that's what I would charge for a month worth of work. So of course it's worth that much. And so the question becomes, it's not, are they worth it? Is it worth that to me? And if it's not, that's my problem. That's not their problem. There should be no haggling involved here. If I can't afford it, or it's not worth that to me, then I have to walk away. I should not ask them to come down to my level.
Exactly. Outstanding. Yet another question from the audience. So you asked how many people would be on. I guess a bunch are on tonight. You might have wished this upon us, so this is good. It's helping me out. So this is from Corona Her Hero. Can you explain how quests and leveling up translate into real world business strategies? Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So quests in your life are the next challenge. So when you're doing business, when you have a business, you have to accomplish a certain amount of things. Questing is really easy because quests are usually the challenge in your life that you are not prepared to do, or you have to work up to. So for me, that's marketing. I hate it. It's one of the worst things. Social media posts, all that stuff. So to me, I always phrase it to myself as a quest. The quest has a reward. The reward I give myself, and it's either a sweet treat or it's something, something that I can do to help motivate myself to get through that hard thing. Because at the end of it, that's really what it comes to. So the quests are the things in your life with business. Like if you're depressed, your quest is, can I get out of bed and make my bed? That's a quest. And once you accomplish that, what you're doing is you're tricking your brain into giving you endorphins, and it's like your happy drug. And if you can start thinking of life as the challenges in life that are in front of you as a quest, as opposed to a chore, then you retrain your brain to give you happiness as opposed to giving you dread when you're looking at the job. So that's questing. And then as far as leveling up goes, leveling up is my favorite thing, because leveling up equates to how fast you become because you're skilling up, and then how much you get to charge. I have a scale. It's in that book, this scale that you see, that like when you're starting out just charging for something, you're charging about minimum wage for the area that you live. And I put that as a 5, you're level 5. When you hit level 6, you double that. So now you're at twice minimum wage. And the reason is because now you're faster, you're better. And so the same amount of time that you would, like, if it took you 2 hours to do something at level 5, it should only take about an hour at level 6, but you shouldn't earn half the money. You should earn at least the same, if not more. And so that's why you have to double it. And every time you level up, and you notice your skills are getting faster, you're being able to do your job, or you're questing better and quicker, and that's when you start to level up your pay, or you level up your client. Like when I went from working from onesie twosie peoples, making 12, 15 me characters a week, to having Disney call me up and say, hey, I want you to do that. That's a level up. You feel that success. And that's how that it equates. So it equates into you're skilling up, and then you're charging more, or the level of like clientele that you get skills up as well. And so that's how you equate that.
Outstanding. Great answer there. And the audience, I hope you're taking notes on everything you're learning tonight. A lot of questions come in. I hope you're taking those notes so that you don't have to go through these problems when you actually get into your business, or if you're in your business now, you realize what you need to tweak to make things go in the right direction and make you get to go to work instead of got to go to work tomorrow.
Absolutely. And if you don't know the answer, if you're not sure, ask somebody.
Yes.
Give me a call. Drop me a line. Like, unfortunately, the world works. As a coach, I would, if I was infinitely wealthy, I would be doing coaching for free, because to me, it's not about gatekeeping information. I don't like to be that guy. I'm not somebody that I want you also to look up to. I want you to be on the par. When I do the Gamified business, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see I do a lot of this. I'm the barkeep. I'm that guy that's on your level. I'm the guy you come up to. You're like, hey, and I just happen to have the information. And that's how I approach life. If you've got a question and you're just burning to know the answer, drop me a line. I'm like, I'm easily accessible.
Outstanding. And I've been dropping all your links in the chat as we're talking. I think everything from your website, your Paul Pape Designs, Gamified Business, your YouTube, your Instagram, your Facebook, and your LinkedIn have all been dropped in the comments. So anyone can go back through the comments and click on whichever one you're most comfortable with and get in contact with Paul. There's a contact me button on both his websites. It's probably the easiest way to get them, and all those links are probably on both of them as well to help you out, to help you get to the point you want to be at. And while we're talking, another question came in. This is from someone I guess likes Outback Steakhouse. Bloomin' Emily Onion. What's the most common mistake creatives make when trying to run a business?
Love
Thank
the
you,
name.
Bloomin' Onion.
So the most common mistake that people who are creatives who are trying to run a business make is they don't charge for labor. That's the biggest one right there. They charge for materials. They charge for, and that's pretty much it. They charge for materials. They don't account for the labor. And what I like to tell them is that, or the second thing they don't charge for is profit. But if you imagine it, let's say you took a job and you charged $50 and it's going to take you an hour to do it. And then you got sick. You're unable to do the job, but that client needs to have that thing. You're going to have to hire somebody else to do it. You can ask somebody to do it for free. They're not gonna. They're going to want something for it. Well, you charge $50. Well, they want $40. The materials cost you $20. Where's the profit? Now you're paying for the opportunity to have that job. You have to charge for labor. Even if you are the one doing labor, you still have to charge for it. And that charge should be more than minimum wage. That's the biggest one. And then profit on top of that, because again, if you had to job out all of the labor and you pay for all the materials, if you've got nothing, if you break even on that, then again, what are you doing? So you got to end up charging profit on top of that, between 20 and 50% markup. That's how every business works, 20 to 50% on top of that. That's your profit. And the profit is what allows you to continue doing your business and to help it grow. It's what allows you to have some overhead in your materials or whatever. So those are the two biggest mistakes: not charging for labor and then profit.
And understanding that part of those costs, if you have an actual business, you have to pay taxes on those businesses.
Yes,
in order to pay the tax, you have to pay yourself first to pay those taxes.
You have to pay yourself. I mean, I do a big thing on taxes as well. Taxes is a scary thing for a lot of people. It shouldn't be. I do a lot of talking on that. It's a course that I teach as well, taxes for the independent contractor. And it's a huge success for people. And so don't be scared of taxes, but do know that, yeah, Uncle Sam needs his cut, because that's what keeps this machine running.
Yeah. That's why we have them. They're not just to stick it to the man. It's to help us all grow, I guess. It's a good way to put it. Excuse me. Last question from the audience just popped in. Last one we'll take for the night.
Okay.
Silver Try Angel 2 wants to know, can someone just starting their creative journey begin to apply the Gamified business model today?
Absolutely. The way that the book is written, it is either self-led or it can be coached. I like coaching it because then you get more depth to it, but it can be self-led. And yeah, you get through the first 3 chapters. What the book does is it actually is I hate to say this because then it scares people off, but it creates a business plan. And by the time you're done with the book, you have a fully functional business and 90 days worth of action to take to start making real money. So yes, absolutely. You start working on it. It asks you 2 questions right off the bat. I won't spoil it for you because that's how I make my money. But but it asks you only 2 questions. And if you can honestly answer those 2 questions, you've got an entire business right there. I mean, it's in chapter 1. Once you go through that, then from there, we're just adding to it. And I think that's the easiest way to jump into it. If you can run a lemonade stand, you can be an entrepreneur. And it's literally that easy with this book set.
That's exactly right. And you see young kids doing the lemonade stands, and even they know how to make a profit on it, because basically they don't spend anything on the lemonade. That's their mom and dad spending that money.
No overhead.
He's raising money for something, but it's 100% profit because they put nothing into the game. Nothing goes in the game and they win. And that teaches them
labor. Yeah. There's labor in there.
But they're out there pushing their game and learning to talk to people most times. It helps them with their social skills to sell that lemonade and to learn that if they get $1 for a 75-cent lemonade that they didn't pay for, they got to give a quarter back to the person.
Right.
So we talked about a lot of things over these last 50 minutes, Paul. Your book is the best place to buy it on your website, or can they get it like on Amazon or something?
If you want to support the artist, buy it directly through Gamified Business. I'll sign it and then hand send it to you. So that's the best way to do it. If you can buy it on Amazon, but Amazon takes 60%. So
course
I
they
mean, I'm straightforward here. So I'll let you know.
Why wouldn't they?
Right.
And your websites, is that also the best place to get in contact with you? Or like I said earlier, they can get you on all of your social handles.
Every place. And I don't bot it, and I don't have any assistants. It's literally me. So if you ask me a question, Paul will be answering it.
All right. Santa for Nerds will help you out, and that's outstanding. And Paul, as we close out, I asked you how to contact you, and you answered every question great tonight. Our last question is the one that puts you in the hot seat. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. 3 things that you can do. 1, be nice to yourself. Okay. That's the biggest one. 2, chase your dreams. Chase them. You don't have to make it a business. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, but do it for you. This is your adventure. Live it. Don't be an NPC in your own life. That's the second one. And the third one is realize that while you are the star of your own adventure, everyone else on this planet is doing their own adventure too, and to treat everyone with as much kindness as you can. There's just not enough time or space in this world to be awful. So love your neighbors.
Outstanding. That is a good one right there. Be kind, because you never know when it's going to be your time to need that kindness as well.
Yep.
Look up at people, look them in the eyes and say hello. Maybe make their day. Those are 3 great things, Paul. Again, thank you for taking your time on a Thursday night to hang out with us, and make sure you duck if anything launches out there in Nebraska. I don't think anything will soon, but I think you're safe where you are.
Hopefully.
This has been great and educational for me as well as the Misfit Nation tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Misfit Nation, don't forget to tune in Sunday. We'll come for you to live again from Fayetteville, and Jake will join me on Sunday night as a co-host and add some of his humor from Tuesday to the Sunday show. Until next time, remember, stay humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation Show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.